Hello and welcome to Squiz.com, the connected marketplace. This video is going to show you a few of the new features and improvements we've added to the platform this week. First up, I'm going to be showing you how we've now added the ability for people to be able to follow organizational issues. Now, to take you back a step, in the platform we have built an issue management feature that allows organizations to capture information based on people filling out inquiry forms. So what I mean by this is against each organization, if you're an admin, within the Inquire Issues section, there is the ability to create new issue types as well as view existing issue types. So in this case, I have an organization called the Quickie Mart, and it has the following issue types. We have a registration application issue type and report a store problem issue type. So if I click on that button, I can now fill out an inquiry form which has been highly customized to a specific workflow that, in this case, Abu from the Quickie Mart wants to be able to capture people's information with. So if you look here, this inquiry form has a summary field so that anybody filling out the problem that they're having with the Quickie Mart, they can fill out this give a summary of what the problem is. They can go into more details and give a description. They can choose the store, which the problem has been that they're having. So in this case, Springfield or the Himalayas. What is the problem within the store? And what was, if it was a product issue, what was the name of the product and what impact was it having? Now we can see that there are stars against each of these fields, which denotes the fields that are mandatory. So if we go back a step, because Abu is the administrator of the Quickie Mart organization, he has the ability to configure all of this information, set up the fields that people can enter, as well as set up the statuses that this issue can have. Now, where this is relevant is when you get somebody connected to the Quickie Mart, such as, in this case, on a separate browser window, I have Homer who's logged in, and Homer is also connected to the Quickie Mart, which would be one of his organizations down here. So what he can do, say he was going into the Quickie Mart store and he wanted to buy some chocolate donuts, but the store did not have any chocolate donuts. So he stormed out in a fury, but because he was connected to the Quickie Mart, he can now fill out an inquiry form that allows him to report the problem that he's having. So he might go in and say, there were no donuts, and more specifically chocolate donuts, and he loves chocolate donuts. Yep, and let's just get my spelling right. And he can say, he can give a spiel just like you would typically done in an inquiry or an angry email. So such as I was in the store and there were no donuts. Now, typically somebody would send an email out complaining of this, but in emails, you don't get to ask the person who's sending it the critical information that you need to know. So in this case, Abu wants to know which store there were no chocolate donuts. So he can find this information now without having to do the back and throws that you typically just get done in email, which would take a lot of time and effort. So in this case, Homer has to choose his store. He can choose exactly what the problem is, and then the product that was the problem was the chocolate donuts. And that was he had a meltdown after that. So he fills out the inquiry or the issue type. Now you can customize the message that gets returned once a person fills out the issue, and there's also a code. Now if we go back to Abu, he's going to receive a notification that Homer has now filled out an inquiry, and then he can view the details and work out what he needs to do with it. So in this case, he can look down all the information. You can see that's a new status, who created the issue, and in this case, Homer created it, but by default, he is not allowed to see any of the further actions that take place with this issue. So an action might be, or a conversation may start in order to find out further details or work out how to resolve this issue. Now, Abu, if he wanted to ask Homer some questions, he could add Homer as a follower, and this is the new feature we've added to the platform, so that way Homer can also receive notifications when comments are made against the issue or when the status changes. So Abu might go, what kind of chocolate donuts do you like? And now this enables him to get further information about decisions that he can make on what kind of donuts that he wants to stock within his stores. So he posts that within the issue. Now Homer will then receive a notification saying that that issue has been commented on, and because he's following the issue, he's allowed to go into more detail. So he might say, I like chocolate donuts with sprinkles on top. Now this gives further information to Abu, which is managing these stores, the Quickie Mart stores, so that way when he next tries to decide on which kind of donuts he needs to put into the store, he can specifically target information based on a person who's going to most likely buy them, and Homer, I'd imagine, would be buying lots of them into the future. So now we have a conversation which is going on within this issue, and because Homer is following this issue, he's able to comment on the issue and see its status. Now Abu, once he may go off and spawn other process in order to fill this issue. He may call up the store owner, or he may add other people. So you can have up to 10 people that can follow an issue and all receive notification when things change. So it could be the manager of the store, it could be another person that this issue affects. So if we think of in The Simpsons, we might have Clancy Wiggum, who is also a donut connoisseur. So he also can start receiving notifications of this problem before he's actually gone into the store. So that could save him a whole bunch of time and effort, because he wants to know when the new chocolate donuts are in place. So because Abu has added Clancy, he can say when the issue has been resolved, Clancy can also be notified of it. So in this case, Abu would change the status once he's fixed the problem, and then he might go, we now have donuts in stock within the Springfield Quickie Mart. And the final point would be just to close off the issue. It has been fully resolved and there's no more problems. So this highlights just one workflow you can set up within Squiz.com in order to have a process where you can capture information and have conversations and have people be added to issues in order to receive the information they require or to be included. Now, if we look back at, if we go back into that organization, as part of the issue management, there's also the ability for a person to be able to search those issues. So in this case, Abu can see all the issues that have been assigned to him. And there's also a number of filters in which you can find issues such as based on codes, based on the statuses for different issues. So in this case, we had the report a store problem, and then you can find all issues that have been resolved. You can find issues that you are watching. So in this case, Abu's not watching any issues, but Homer would be watching that issue that he raised. And now there's also the ability to, when somebody fills out an inquiry or an issue form, they can also be automatically included to watch the issue. So Homer, when he first created the issue, he was not able, or he would not be able to actually view the issue that he created. But if you go into the issue type, there's a new setting that we've added where he can automatically follow the issue that once he has created. So that's allow somebody to keep informed as soon as they've filled out the form and they're ready to go. So this gives you a highlight of the issue management software and the advanced capabilities that are available for each organization. So a good thing to do when using this feature is to think up of some of the processes that happens within any business and which require user input in order to be able to tailor these inquiry forms and issue forms in order to be able to make more efficiencies and stop the email trail that gets lost in people's inboxes. And it can be all centrally managed within the one location. The next improvement we've added has to do with organizational feeds. So if you go into an organization's profile, find a feed, and want to post a message in the feed, the system can now detect when you post links or page links within the feed message. So in this case, I just simply paste my URL and then put a space after it, and then the system will detect look to detect any page links and then list them below. So in this case, here's one example where I have of a Wikipedia document relating to donuts, and then I can put it in another another link to a YouTube video clip, and the system will go off and find the title of the page associated with it. So the system, if you embed URLs that can start with the HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol, or www, then the system will detect those links and list them underneath the post. If you don't like the links that it's found, then you can just click the remove link, and then I'll get rid of them. And if you want to add them back again, just go to the end of the link and click the space button, and then it will detect them again. Now what this allows you to do is that you can now get rid of those links within the post, and then you can just put it in a short message rather than having to put the full URL links in your post, which just takes up space and limits you further in the characters. So in this case, Abu would just talk about how he's found a link about donuts. Now in this case, because Homer may be following this may be definitely worth his while looking at these links, and it will get Homer inspired to buy donuts from the Quickie Mart you could foresee. Now what happens is if the first link that is detected is a YouTube clip that contains the YouTube its short URL, and then the system will embed a player when the post is put into the feed. So here's a couple of links that we had before. Let's get rid of those. Now if I post it, you can see that the YouTube video player has automatically loaded the video that was placed into the message. And this only happens if the first link is a YouTube link. Now once you've got your post and you can notify anybody who's following this feed, so in this case this is the public feed, then what will happen is when a notification is sent out about that post, the YouTube video clip is also embedded within the notifications menu as well, and you can see the links there. So this makes it nice and easy for people to be able to get notified of a new video that you've posted up within the platform, as well as find the relevant pages that you've wanted to link into your message. The next feature we've done is we've raised the amount of contact requests that you can send out at a given time. So within the contacts menu, you can add a new contact to it's really adding a new person into the platform. You can then type in their email address, and previously you could only send up to 3 requests to people who are not already within the platform. So we've now extended that to be up to 10 requests, and if the person is already within the platform, then you can have up to 20 unresolved contact requests. So this makes it allows you to invite more people into the platform. And you can always see the outstanding requests that you have within the personal options menu, and then you can look at your contact requests. So there's go to request the marks and another contact. And if you want, you can cancel these requests. So you can have up to 10 outstanding requests. And this is done as a mechanism to make sure that the platform isn't getting overflowed with too many people logging in, rather than it just slowly, gradually builds up and allows us to be able to support the increasing amount of users. The last feature I'm going to talk about here is we have now put in a simple message into the sign up form that explains why the registration form can be so difficult for certain people. And this really comes down to security. So we've added a spiel that talks about why we need to have the security questions, 2 of them, and why we need longer answers within those fields as well. And it all comes down to security, so that way other people or automated computer software cannot easily guess your security questions or your passwords, making it almost impossible for somebody to accidentally log in as you and get access to your information. So security is very important to us, and we want to make sure that nobody else has the opportunity to take your data or pretend that they are acting as you. And unfortunately, because of this, we have to ask more questions and get more tighter passwords. So it's a short-term pain for long-term gain. And the reason for this is because a lot of other social platforms do not go into this level of security, but because Squiz has a lot more systems that can be integrated into it, it is important that we keep you nice and safe and secure with this extra level of data that you get access to. So that's a wrap up of the functionality this week. If you have any questions about these features or any other feedback you want to give, I would recommend going to the Squiz profile page and then looking for the early adopters feed and putting any information that you want into that, which can be found in the Squiz early adopters, and we are happy to take back any feedback or any improvements you have for the platform. If you find any issues, you can also raise them by going to the report feedback issue and then filling out a platform bug, and then we just need to get a few pieces of information from you. Until next time, happy squizzing.